Hey friends, welcome back. Today we're going to do Arrowsmith Behind Enemy Lines issue number 3 by Image Comics, made by Carlos Pacheco and Kurt Busiek, or not sure how you spell that. Is it Busiek or Busiek? I'm not entirely sure. Nor does it matter in this video. Cover is nice, good, art is great or good. I like it. That's why I got it. So we dive right in. Fletcher here has been taken by the enemy. He's in enemy camp. Along with other soldiers, wizards, how you call it. And he is, in the last issue, he met a person that is the spy. That's his meeting guy. That's one of his missions. So he sits there and he sees all these things on the ground, and he assumes that they are rock trolls or goblins or whatever. And then this person comes up, and then he's actually his contact guy, and his name is Guy, just Guy. They immediately talk about the mission. He said, "Let's get to business," he says, and but then Fletcher says, "There," and he means the persons that sent him, the higher ups. He says there, "and spelled into my orachelic chips to make sure I couldn't reveal them when I captured, even if I wanted to. And the chips are with your dragonet." So I didn't know what that means at the time, but then I remember in issue 1 he gave some kind of an amulet to his dragonet. So there is engraved magically the mission or the location to a mission. I'm not entirely sure. So Guy says, well, we have to escape because the dragonets are, not with the soldiers. They are gone, because if the enemy killed or the dragonet is killed in enemy behind enemy lines, no pun intended. That soldier is basically, it's not powerless, but it's getting harder for him to survive. So all these dragonets have been called away or been sent away by these soldiers that's been captured. Very smart. And so Guy says, we are being hunted by a group of people called the Crux. And that is why the Black Baron is here in the compound looking for him, and also Fletcher, because there is, well, it's not really a traitor, but infiltrators. Let's leave it at that. And Fletcher says, the Crux, those guys were kind of spooky, but enemy agents, aren't they part of the church? Guy says, yeah, the Crux is part of the church, but a very old part and a dark part. So I believe we see more of them later in later comics. And he also speaks about the Peace of Charlemagne. I didn't know or don't know what that is for now, but I guess we're gonna hear from that also hopefully later in the books. So they devise a plan. Guy already has a plan, because Fletcher says, how do we get out? We were to be tunneled out by rock trolls. Either they knew that from your predecessor, who didn't live to reach the camp, or they deduced it. Either way, the trolls can get through without raising an alarm. Then what do? We raise the alarm. Okay, interesting. So Guy goes out. Well, not yet. I was a little bit too quick. Basically, he says, Guy says to Fletcher, hey, I have a plan, but it's going to be a costly one. You have to be prepared. So the rumor is between the soldiers that there is a prison break, and people are getting lively. Although nobody says anything, but it's they're how do you say? They sense there's an exciting moment in the air, and even the enemies, the Germans or the Prussians, are starting to get a note of that, but they don't know what's going on. So they are more on high alert. So Fletcher goes out in the evening, and he is walking, and I mean, not Fletcher, I mean Guy, and Fletcher thinks to himself, well, I wouldn't do that, because normally if you are going out after curfew, you're getting being, warned that you have to get in, you get beaten up or maybe get shot. Guy doesn't, care about that. So he walks and then he stands still. He looks to the sky and it starts to rain. And it starts even harder to rain. Is that a word? It's rain even harder, probably that. And then it's going to be pouring out of the sky. And then the Germans or the Prussians are warning him, hey, you need to go back, lay on the ground, or we're going to shoot you. But then the winds are, there are going to be strong winds. I'm sorry, I'm not entirely sure how you express that sentence. So the winds are picking up, ripping this thing apart. They are dead. Guy still standing here in the middle, and everything is being ripped apart. Wow, I don't know. He's maybe as strong as Storm from the X-Men. I don't know. He's pouring it, man. He is really strong when it comes to weather effects. But it's all part of the magic. So the other soldiers come out because they are ready. They're calling their dragonets, and they are, he says, to the skies. And so everybody is taking off, and it looks great. I mean, Carlos Pacheco, if that's how you say it, is a fantastic artist. I really like his art. But then Guy says to Fletcher, we're going the other way. Because it was a trap. They were found out. It was an ambush. And everybody who was in the sky is getting, killed with flame. They are being, ignited, if you will. And Fletcher is surprised. He said, what do we do now? And the guy says, we go overland, southward first. But first we need to get to the trees. We take evasive action once we get there. But they're dying, he says. Do you want to die with them? I told you it will be costly. Now move, lad, and quickly. Yeah, it's going to be costly. Fletcher still worried about the soldiers, and he says to Guy, hey man, how could you do that? They are friends, they are soldiers. We need to save them. Guy doesn't react. But then the world around them changes. And there is strange smells in the air, like cinnamon and burning leaves, and Fletcher's getting dizzy. Guy warns him, focus on me, don't look around. Just follow me. Don't they teach you anything? Don't let it catch your mind. You could be lost forever, he says. And then Fletcher's, not really well trained, and he even admits that, because it was a very quick decision that he would go onto this mission, and so they didn't have the time to train him properly. So all these things that is happening here is completely new to him. So Guy says, stick with me, but his mind is wandering. He sees in the trees tiny houses, etc. He sees seas. He sees, all these things that he has never seen before. And then he's being attacked by, people on lizard things. Guy takes immediately action. He says, damn it, enough of this. I hope we could slip through longer, and then he uses some kind of a spell, and then they go back to, the normal world, and Guy is all dizzy and distracted. He says, I'm sorry, Fletch. I wouldn't have done that if I known they hadn't trained you. And Fletch is all, it smells fading, so beautiful. Was that the evening lands? And he talks about the Lightborn. Not entirely sure what that are, but I believe the Lightborn is a magical race, but I'm not entirely sure. Guy says, no, we were at the outer march, and before they, let's say you have to go further into the reach to the true evening lands. So I believe they went into, not really another dimension, but into the real magic world. Of the world where magic maybe was born, not entirely sure, and just fill him in some blanks here and there. So Fletcher says, if you if we went any further without a safe conduct, maybe that's a spell, or maybe that's a person that protects them, like Guy here. You could have wandered 60 years or more and not age a day and come out cracked. And but then he meets those people here, and they are basically the good guys, rebels if you want, and they're waiting for Guy and Fletcher because it's still part of the mission, right? Is there something wrong with my resolution? I'm not entirely sure what's going on here. And they're using some spells on the ground because it seems that they are being hunted, and kobolds are going to be thrown off because of this magic spell. They're flattening the land. They're smoothing out any vibrations from the passage, which is really cool in my opinion. I love the fact that we see magic spells and magic skills that I haven't seen before, because, well, the only magic spells I know is from Doctor Strange and Dr. Fate and a couple other magic users. But they are really same-ish, except Dr. Fate his magic is really wild and chaotic, and I love that way more than Doctor Strange. It's just magic powers, but it's more personal preference than anything. So they are, okay, skipping a few pages. So the other ones are going back or away into the forest, never to be seen again, probably. And there's a woman here called Erna. Erna takes them to a safe place, and he says, you can rest here, you need to change. And but Fletcher has a lot of questions about everything. But Guy says, hey, listen, I need to check the perimeter. You just stay here, get some rest. You're still being, out of it. You're still dizzy. I come back later. Just take it easy. Erna shows him, well, around. That's a big word, but he says, hey, come up here. This is your sleeping place. You are safe here. And they have a chat. And Erna, I'm not sure how you say it properly. She says that she is coming from around here, and she's defecting because, well, the Prussians, Germans are taking over the land, and she's a rebel, and she's fighting the resistance, or she's a part of the resistance, if you can call it that. But she is also battle damaged, and Fletcher's shocked. She says, yeah, it's okay because they are old scars, she says. I work when they order me in munitions factory, making magical weapons, but I sabotage them all the time. And is that where you were wounded? No, she says. That is just the work. Many of us become injured badly. Sometimes we die. We need the need for the weapons is too great to save. I'm sorry, I'm saying that a little bit wrong. The need for the weapons is too great to safety take time for. They don't care. You see, they don't care about us. Just the power they seek to take and hold, and how many machines of death for them we can make. And Fletcher is so confused because he's seen some horrors, but not, like this and what happened before. He's coming relatively from a safe place, also working in factories, but not, he's just a little bit bewildered and shocked how bad other people have in other countries, because he thinks it's mostly all the same, but it isn't, because every land has their own conditions, have their own safety measures, have their own, things to worry about, and people are fearing for their lives, and they do everything to escape from that horror. I like that. So Erna is, still talking to him, but Fletcher is now being, worried that Guy is not there anymore, that he left him. And Erna says, Guy is smart, he is fine. And he's also checking some stuff. But Erna says, hey, yes, good, boots off, we take. He says, I wasn't. It helped you relax. Guy says you rest need. Schnapps? Alcohol, she says. Well, Now there is a terrible idea. Give it here. Haha, not so fast. It's very strong. And they drink. They talk about where they come from, about blacksmithing, about farms, anything, etc. Okay, now I'm gonna show you some sexy stuff because, well, there's nudity in here. I I won't show too much. Probably get struck. I don't care. Let's see if that's actually happened. So yeah, they're having some friendly time, and yeah, as you can see here, they having fun with each other. But Fletcher here, he's the how do you say, the typical good guy, and maybe in those time periods, in the 1800s, in the 1900s, in the 1700s, that's probably normal. But he is, I don't know, it seems that he has not really much experience, if you know what I mean. Because he's thinking about the other girl at home, probably his, well, not really girlfriend, but a girl that he liked. But then he also thought about the fact that she's liking another guy. So he's letting himself go. But also his inner monologue, would it be rude to say no? I didn't know. I couldn't think. But she's been hurt so much. She was helping us. And then I wasn't thinking at all. And this dragon looks fun. Hey, what's going on here? And then she is calling out Stefan, probably her, I don't know, husband, friend, boyfriend, whatever. And the last page, yeah, you can figure it out what this means probably. And then we have Guy here taking a smoke, relaxing, and that continues the story into the next book. Yeah, I like it very much. I was also wondering what this is. I just checked it out. Autumnlands. This looks very European. I like that. Yeah, and other stuff. I like this. I'm beginning to like this comic. Not sure where this is going, but there's a lot of things to unpack here, especially in the next issue that I've read. It's getting better, and I like that. Let's see where this is going. Guys, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.